Hey, what's up, everybody? And welcome to the first ever edition of Hate to Pile On in the year 2021. Happy New Year, Jonathan. How are you doing?
Okay. I'm doing all right.
Whoa, 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 whoa. All right. What is that answer?
A little tired, but aside from that, exceptionally well.
Yes, sir. That's how we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. All right. Well, let's get down to some brass tacks, some business. So, this year we're gonna be upping the ante for Hate to Pile On. So much more content for you guys. So much more awesomeness. We're excited. I know you guys are gonna be excited for this. We have some pretty good streams. We started at the end of last year, so you might have already kind of noticed. But one of the big things that we're going to be doing is we're going to have a lot more content throughout the weekdays. So on Twitter, you can follow us, our official Twitter page, Hate to Pile On. Hate the number 2 Pile on Twitter. Go ahead and follow that, and you'll be able to get up to date on our mock Mondays. So going into the off season for the NFL, we're getting heavily into the scouting and mock draft season. Jonathan, you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So I've been very into NFL draft season for a couple of years now. I've been getting CJ more interested in it last year and especially this year. And so we've been using the draftnetwork.com's mock draft simulator to simulate drafts for each of our teams. CJ for Washington and myself for the Carolina Panthers. And so I think we have 2 weeks of them now.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I can show you a little quick taste of my mock draft, but you can go check out Jonathan's mock draft from Monday yesterday. So here we go. Let me go this direction. Boom. These are my picks for the Washington football team here. As you see, I love Kyle Pitts. I love him to death, but I don't know if he realistically drops to 19. If he does, this would be a beautiful thing because I think Washington has gotten really lucky with a lot of picks falling to them. Trayvon Morig, I think that's how you say Morig. Love this safety. Shout out to his mom who liked the tweet on Twitter. Super good safety. I really liked his range. I think he can be that center field safety that Washington really needs. We need a true free safety. We have a lot of box safeties. And mind you, Cameron Crowe has been playing out of his mind this season. But pair him up with Cameron Crowe in that backfield, chef's kiss. And, of course, we want to build that offensive line and go back-to-back picks offensive tackles. That's what we got to do to build that line and build it for years to come. But that's just a sneak peek. You can look at the rest of it and check out Jonathan's on our Twitter channel, Hate to Pile On. Go ahead and follow that and tell your friends. And we're going to be doing more draft content as well on the Twitter page.
Yeah, so not only do we do the mock drafts, we also give tiny, usually like 1 tweet's worth of analysis for each pick. Nothing too in-depth, but a nice little background on each pick and the players we're selecting. But yeah, we're going to be picking that up as draft season gets fully into gear, as it already is for half the league.
Yeah.
But as more and more teams get eliminated from the playoffs, which we will start to talk about in a little bit, but draft season is going to just keep picking up more steam, and so are we.
Ooh, yes, sir. Also, of course, on Tuesdays, you got your regular scheduled program here as we are talking to you. We break down the NFL action, basketball, all the sports action here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, possibly depending on if there's games or not. Once the NFL season wraps up, we're going to figure out if we're going to do a Thursday stream or not. But Tuesday, for sure, you can expect something. Wednesday, we have the new segment, Wrestling Wednesday. I think we've gone about about 3 streams right now. Wrestling Wednesday, the original one, which me breaking down My Love of Wrestling, the promo. You can watch that on the YouTube channel currently, CJT Creation Box. Go ahead and follow that YouTube channel as well. You can check out that wrestling video. Then we did a reaction to Walter versus Ilya Dragunov. That should still be on the Twitch channel. And then this past Saturday, we did a tribute show, a tribute stream to Brody Lee, who recently passed, John Huber, watching about 4 of his matches. So that was really fun to watch. Watch some of his older stuff in Shikara, watched a match in WWE, and then watched his last 2 matches in AEW. So that was a really good stream. So we're going to keep watching more videos each week. There's so much wrestling out there, especially now with Wrestle Kingdom just happening today and yesterday. Also, I did find this really cool wrestler that I'd never heard of before, but watched the stream of Effie. He's a really cool streamer I've been watching, and he watches like independent wrestling on Mondays. And there's this killer robot wrestler that I've never heard of, never seen, but it looks super cool and awesome. So we will watch that on the channel as well. We'll find some matches to watch of his. It's pretty cool. Like he's like actually like a robot. It's hilarious. Be on the lookout for that and much more wrestling content. But Friday, going kind of piggybacking off our mock Mondays, we're going to do franchise mode on Madden. So I recently, thanks to Jonathan, got Madden 21, and we're going to be playing some franchise mode. I think I'm going to just do. Should we do rando teams and start like how should we do it? Should we do like an online franchise that's connected, or should we just do, I guess, individual?
We could try a connected one, but we just have to make sure we each play our games. That way we can advance them before the next person starts to play for their stream.
Okay. Yeah, we'll figure that out. But yeah, I think this is also more of the kind of getting into that general manager mindset of really developing a team, growing a team. As we are working on mock drafts, evaluating talent, we want to continue to build that mindset, those cerebral mindsets, so that maybe one day we can get hired as GMs of the XFL football team, which I'm The Rock. Shout out to The Rock, hire me. I would love to be a GM. I'll do it for, money. So, but yeah, that's the content that we got for the week. So this is going to be a lot. We got something pretty much going mostly every day. You might be able to see a bonus streams if I decide to watch more wrestling on the weekends, depending on the schedule. But we want to do a bunch of stuff. NBA season, we're going to talk about some NBA today. So we're going to be getting more into the NBA season coming forward. We're also going to be heavy into the draft season as well. So a lot of stuff to look forward to and to get your input on. Tell us what you think of our mock drafts. Let us know if you think it's done. We're going to do we're going to do draft boards. We might have Kyle back on the show as well to help do some more scouting. He's really big into the scouting stuff as well. So we'll build a little bit of a tree. We're going to be your source for, especially we want to really get into the scouting stuff, and we really want to be a valuable source for you guys and also for some college kids maybe going up, possibly trying to get recruited and get some looks. Who knows what will happen? But without any further ado, let's get into the action here. And first and foremost, in the college football ranks, we would like to say congratulations to Devontae Smith, wide receiver from Alabama, had a monstrous year, won the Heisman tonight just before we got on air. So congratulations, Devontae Smith. I mean, you well deserve it.
Congrats. Yeah, he played insane. And he still has a game to add to his totals.
Over 100 catches this season, 1,600 yards?
Yeah, he's got, 105 catches, 1,641 yards, and 20 touchdowns.
That man's a problem. I guess, one thing that we was looking at in the preseason was, we were talking about cornerback U, right? Who's the DBU? I think we can put a crown on Alabama for being wide receiver U. I mean, the talent they've had over these past, since Julio came in the league? That's probably
they went Julio, Amari, Calvin Ridley, then
They had like a
Judy Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, who's also probably going to be a first-round pick.
I feel like someone even missed it.
That's actually news. He was cleared to practice today. Jalen Waddle, who broke his leg like week 2.
Oh, really?
He's cleared to practice and is probably going to play in the national championship on Monday.
Yeah, Alabama's going to be a problem. Alabama is already a problem. So we'll see how Ohio State bounce back. Especially, Justin Fields really, was battling injury. He got a pretty nice shot to the back rib area, and then was able to play. Let's just get into it, shall we? So, as you're wearing the shirt here, Clemson versus Ohio State.
What shirt?
Clemson versus Ohio State in the national semifinal, the night game. Clemson loses this game to a hot Justin Fields who battled injury all game. How did you feel about that game overall for your Clemson team?
The Clemson defense was trash. The targeting call. A lot of Clemson fans didn't like it, but that is the rule. If you put your helmet down, lead with the helmet, and helmet is made with contact is made with your helmet, it's targeting. Would contact have been made with the crown of his helmet if Justin Fields wasn't spinning? Probably not, but he still put his helmet down, and he had to live with the consequences of what happened when he did so. If he had kept his helmet, his face up, it wouldn't have been, probably still would have been penalized, but he wouldn't have been ejected.
This is 2 years in a row for that linebacker as well, isn't it?
Yep.
So, that's not a good track record for him.
No.
Yeah, that was a big victory for Ohio State. Definitely a lot of disrespect on the side of Dabo Swinney to Ohio State, so they definitely wanted to shut him up and prove him wrong, and they definitely did that. What do you think? What is next for? I guess Trevor hasn't officially declared, has he?
No, and as his agents, we can't divulge that information until he does.
Yeah.
No.
So we'll see what happens with that situation. We still gotta, it was a long season. Let him rest and get his mind together, and we'll come once he's ready. We'll talk about that once he's ready. Also, another semifinal game, we had Alabama beating Notre Dame 31-14.
Notre Dame stinks.
Yeah, Mac Jones 25 for 30, 297, 4 tutties. Devontae Smith had 3 of them, 7 catches for 130 yards. Najee Harris 15 carries for 125. Pretty much handled this game pretty easily. Coasted into the national championship, which sets up a big matchup between the Ohio State versus Alabama Crimson Tide. Jonathan, who do you like in this matchup, and what do you expect to see next Monday night?
I really don't know. Justin Fields did elevate his game to another level last week.
Before you continue, can we just talk about the disrespect that he got before the game, talking about how he could slip in the draft, though? Justin Fields, nothing changed.
Slip how far in the draft?
Either Thomas or Mel Kiper had, well, at least his ranking went down from number 2 prospect to number 9 behind Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson's really good too.
Yeah, but nothing changed with Justin Fields. I don't think Zach Wilson is better than Justin Fields.
Some people might.
And those people will be wrong. But I digress. We could continue back what you're talking about. But the disrespect of Justin Fields, I just didn't like last week. And then they just changed course so quick as soon as he played well. Anyways, fickle Fickle.
Yeah, I either need him to do stupid well, and like cement himself as the clear number 2 quarterback, and let Zach Wilson fall to the Panthers, or I need Justin Fields to stink and let him fall to the Panthers. But I need one of them. And since both of them will probably be gone, backup plan is Trey Lance. But Panthers need a quarterback very badly.
This is true. But
'Cause
going into the
Teddy ain't it.
he's not. PJ, maybe? Who knows?
PJ threw 3 picks in like 1 quarter.
I mean, we all do that sometimes, so it's fun. Kyle Trask does it. He's going to be a first-round pick. Doesn't matter.
Is he though?
I don't. Definitely not. Probably the third or fourth, probably.
He'll probably be a 2nd-round pick. He stinks though.
It's weird because, like, I think with quarterbacks in drafts, it's that second-tier quarterbacks that you think will normally would have you got projected going like in the 2nd round, but they always tend to drop a round or 2. Like there might be like one that might go to 2nd, but then the rest might just kind of slide to like the 3rd or 4th.
Well, the things with drafting a quarterback is you're either drafting a quarterback that you think can start for you, which is usually going to be a 1st-round pick, or somebody's going to be a backup, which you usually wait until like the 3rd or 4th round. So those guys that are like projected as 2nd-round picks, they either shoot up into the 1st or they fall down into like the 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, you still can get. There's still lots of talent in the 3rd and 4th round. You see quarterbacks such as Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady in the 6th round. I mean, you definitely have quarterbacks that you can develop, but that doesn't seem to be a thing in the NFL right now. Developing quarterbacks, either you got it in your rookie year or you don't. But that's another issue for another day. Let's get back to the national championship game. What do you think about this matchup going?
I don't know. I really want to see Waddle come back because Jalen Waddle was supposed to be Alabama's number 1 receiver this year, or 1A to Devontae Smith's 1B, but most people viewed him as the better receiver until he broke his leg, and then Devontae Smith just went crazy. But if he comes back and he's fully healthy, is he going to be able to show people why he was once thought of that way? Or is Devontae Smith just going to say, no, I'm here now, this is my team, and cement himself as a top 10 lock? Let's see. Sean Wade is supposed to be Ohio State's best corner. He didn't look that great against Clemson. I'm not sure which one of those two he'd be lined up on, but either one of them might feast on him. He needs to bounce back. Let's see. Trey Sermon continued balling. I think he had 193 yards against Clemson. Yes, 31 carries, 193 yards, and a rushing touchdown.
Insane.
He's cooking. Clemson couldn't stop him one bit. Alabama is more equipped to do so, but he's on a Derrick Henry type run right now. So we'll see if he can keep that up or if they're able to slow him down. Justin Fields took that big hit from Skalski. We'll see if he's still suffering some effects from that going into the game. If he is still sore, I don't know if he was diagnosed with cracked ribs that they made public. But if he is, I would expect to see him not scramble as much, be slower around moving around in the pocket, less evasive. So that'll be something to watch for. On the other side, you got Najee Harris, who was also a Heisman finalist. 3 Heisman finalists for Alabama, actually, including Devontae Smith, who won. Mac Jones, the quarterback, came in at 3rd place behind Trevor Lawrence and ahead of Kyle Trask. And Najee Harris came in at number 5. So just a stupid talented offense for Alabama. And the defense is having a down year compared to Alabama standards, but it's still got talent, 4 and 5 stars all over the place. And I trust their defense more than Ohio State's. But the offenses could really go either way, especially after the way Justin Fields played in the semifinals.
True. We'll give our predictions for that game on Thursday, so definitely be on the lookout for that Thursday on our pile-on picks. Let's go to some other notable bowl games that we had. Let's see here. You have
you want to go to your Georgia Bulldogs?
Well, I'm going to go to my lane train. Ole Miss beating Indiana, which was a pretty big upset, 26-20. Matt Corral 30 for 44, 342 yards, 2 tutties. Then you had Iowa State, beating Oregon 34-17. Texas A&M handling North Carolina 41-27. Northwestern beating Auburn 35-19. Then, of course, we go to my dogs, which I never doubted this team for a second. Not for a second.
Said the Ohio State fan.
Georgia picking up a victory with
I got the screenshots to prove it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Georgia picks up the big victory, 24-21 over Cincinnati, and shuts up that, Cincinnati can compete. Not up in here, not against my dogs. Okay, so we got Mississippi State beating Tulsa 28-26. Ball State defeating San Jose State 34-13. Wisconsin beating Wake Forest 42-28. Oklahoma
smacking Kyle Trask and the Florida Gators. Trask stunk in this game.
Yeah, 3 picks early.
And a lot of people are going to blame his poor performance on the fact that Kyle Pitts didn't play, Kadarius Toney didn't play, Trayvon Grimes didn't play. The knock most people have on Kyle Trask is that he's being elevated by his supporting cast and not the other way around. And that's the reason why he played, even though they did not, is because he wanted to show that no, he can get it done without them. And he was very unsuccessful in that endeavor. He threw 3 picks in 1 quarter, I believe.
Yeah, the first quarter, maybe?
Yeah, it might have been the first half. But
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, he looked very bad. Emory Jones came in and promptly led them on a touchdown drive, his first drive, and then was benched again for Kyle Trask after that drive. It made no sense. He was clearly the more successful quarterback that day. We also have Texas back.
Texas is back.
Beating Colorado 55-23.
Is this?
Is this because they did
this? Oh yeah. This is the TCU, right? Horned Frogs.
Horned Frogs, I think. But when somebody scores on Texas, they do the horns down, like when they flip the U.
Yeah. Texas is back, but not with Tom Herman.
Steve Sarkisian.
Which is like Spider-Man looking at Spider-Man here. Almost the same person.
Sarkisian isn't bad though. Like he.
Who was he at last time? Was he? Because no, he wasn't still at Alabama.
He went to the NFL. He was with the Falcons.
Yeah, but I thought he got fired after like a season or 2.
I don't know if he got fired or his contract ran out. I know he left the Falcons after 2 years, yeah. And they brought in Dirk Cutter, who stinks. Um, but yeah, he's been around a couple of teams in the last couple of years. But I don't know. I think he's got a chance there to build something. It's Texas, so they're always going to be able to get some recruits. But
Not
if he
lately.
can, even lately they've gotten like one or two big time recruits.
It's just, I guess, it's just not the same Texas though. I mean, they're still trying to rebuild that prestige, but it just seems like
Exactly. So if he can convince some recruits that he is going to get Texas
Texas
back on
A&M
track.
has been like Texas A&M has definitely been on the come ups.
They seem like they're on the cusp, but they still seem like they're a solid tier behind. Um, well, this year they really narrowed the gap, but the last couple of years they still seem like they were a solid tier behind Alabama and Georgia or LSU or Florida, whoever is the second best team. It's kind of been one or the other for the last like 6 years. LSU obviously last year. Georgia pretty much the 3 years before that. Um, they seem to be like a top 5 SEC team, but never really quite top 2 until this year. I mean, they look really good, um, especially in the bowl game, blowing out a pretty good North Carolina team.
Yeah, there was jokes about Mac Jones returning to Texas. I mean, look what Mac Jones did to North Carolina just in a couple of years.
Yeah, he really turned them around. A lot of that is Sam Howell, the quarterback. He's probably going to be the first pick next year's draft. Not the upcoming draft, but the following year.
2022.
Yep. Uh, he's really been really impressive in his first 2 years as a starter, but I don't want to get a year ahead of ourselves, so I digress.
Yeah, a couple more games before we move on to the NFL. We
Oklahoma
have
State, Miami.
Oklahoma State, Miami. Oklahoma State beating Miami 37-34. Close game. Close game. Spencer Sandler, 27 for 40, 305 yards, 4 tutties. And Brennan Presley, 6 catches for 118 yards and 3 tutties. Pretty good game for them. Close game. Definitely started hot for Oklahoma State, going up 21-0. But then from there, Miami started to claw their way back, but not enough to pick up the victory. And of course, we'll talk. Louisiana picked up the victory over UTSA, 31-24. And a game that we thought we was going to get a while back before COVID intervened. Liberty upsetting Coastal Carolina in overtime, 37-34. This game was close. I mean, it was a good game for sure. Coastal, they were kind of fighting from behind most of the way. Got it even, got into overtime. Questionable play calling in overtime. Didn't run the ball once and had to rely on a field goal, which you never want to do in overtime. You want to just score that ball. So even though it's been a great season, Sun Belt champions, suffering defeat to Liberty, which sucks. But I think Coastal can make another name for themselves again next year, as we'll see what Jamie Chadwell does in the sequel to this season.
Yeah. Another game. We mentioned him earlier, but uh, Zach Wilson and BYU outscoring since UCF 49-23. He was 26 of 34 for 425 yards and 3 tutties. I believe all in the first half.
Yeah, which is
So
like insane production.
yeah. So that's why some people might have him ahead of Justin Fields. I don't think that's Justin Fields slander. I think that's just people being really impressed with how good Zach Wilson appears to be.
Yeah,
My only thing with Zach Wilson is he hasn't played the same level of competition Justin Fields has,
that's a big point.
but he also doesn't have the same talent around him as Justin Fields does. So I think the two of those kind of offset. But I think they're both really talented quarterbacks. I would take either of them on the Panthers next year because Teddy ain't it.
Speaking of the NFL, so the regular season has wrapped up, and the playoffs are underway. So we're going to give you a quick playoff rundown of who's in the playoffs right now. There's no need to break down the games because this past week wasn't that great. There was only a couple big games for teams to get into playoffs, as my Washington football team was able to make it to the playoffs with a hard-fought victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. But the NFC looks like this for Super Wild Card weekend. The Green Bay Packers, 13-3 record, number one seed, gets the bye week. Then you have the number 2 seed New Orleans Saints, 12-4, taking on I didn't know this was happening. The number 7 ranked Chicago Bears, 8-8. They'll be playing on Sunday at 4:40 on CBS. The Seattle Seahawks, number 3 seed, 12-4 versus the number 6 ranked Los Angeles Rams, who are 10-6. They will play 4:40 on Saturday. Then you have the Washington football team, 7-9, 4 seed versus the number 5 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 11-5, playing Saturday night, 8:15. Should be a really good game there. Going into the AFC, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, your 1 seed, 14-2 with the bye week. Number 2 seed Buffalo Bills, who's been sizzling hot like that pan at Applebee's, 13-3 versus the number 7 Indianapolis Colts, 11-5, playing at 1:05 on Saturday. Number 3 ranked Pittsburgh Steelers with the rematch. Let's run it back again next week versus the number 6 Cleveland Browns, who are 11-5, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are 12-4. We play at 8:15, the Sunday night game. A lot of COVID issues in Cleveland right now. Number 4 ranked Tennessee, 11-5 versus the number 5 ranked Baltimore Ravens, 11-5. Rematch from last year's playoff. This is the game that I'm most excited to watch, besides, of course, my own teams. They play at 1 o'clock on Sunday. As RG3 said on Twitter, we are trying to get our proverbial bike back after last year's bullying in the playoffs. So let's break it down. First game, and give me your thoughts, quick thoughts on what you feel about this game. So we're going to start off in the NFC. Saints, Bears. How do you feel?
The Bears stink. Saints by at least 10 points.
Cool. Seattle versus Los Angeles. This should be a divisional game, so they'll be playing each other for the 3rd time.
Yeah. It's in Seattle. I'm going to go with the Seahawks, but I think it'll be a close game.
I'm not sure the health of Jared Goff for this week. That's also something to check out as well.
Oh, yeah. If he's still out, then Seahawks by
A lot.
at least 13.
Low-key, what could be the game of the week? Washington football team, no favorites, versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You guys
don't even got to say anything. You don't got to say anything. Washington by 2.
Yeah, Washington might score about 2 points. I'll give them a field goal, so 3. And Tampa Bay, 27.
Yeah, Tampa Bay does scare me with that offense is humming. Antonio Brown is back in form. Rob Gronkowski's back in form. Mike Evans possibly for this week. But still, Chris Godwin. I mean, they still have an embarrassment of riches at the wide receiver position. I don't think we have enough corners to match up with them. So yeah, we'll see how our front seven does. If our front seven can wreak havoc on these longer forming passing plays, that can be key for us as long as we don't give up no big splash plays. All right, so going to the AFC, we got the Buffalo Bills, who was hotter than the Sizzlers. Woo! Versus the Indianapolis Colts. What do you think about this game?
I'm going to go with the Bills. They're just a really good team all around. Good defense, good offense. The Colts have Phillip Rivers as their quarterback, and Phillip Rivers has historically not done too well in the playoffs.
Terrible.
So, yeah, I'm going to take Buffalo.
But at the same time, Jonathan Taylor has been a problem these last couple of weeks. That defense can show up. Like, I think that's the thing. Like, Indianapolis Colts has a sneaky good defense. So
sure.
If this is that week if this is the cool down week for Jonathan Allen, Josh Allen, excuse me. I'm thinking of Washington still. This could be bad because I mean this defense can really pounce. Darius Leonard on that linebacker core is a fierce linebacker, one of the best in the league. This team should be interesting. I think this is a really interesting matchup as well. There's a lot of sneaky, interesting matchups that this one could be really tough to predict. But as much as you want to go with the Bills, the Colts could pose an upset here. But I mean, it's in Buffalo. It's going to be cold as heck, so it's not going to be indoors. So you got to give Buffalo the advantage there. Going into the rematch from Week 17, we got Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. What do you think, Jonathan?
Browns have their head coach out due to COVID. Their best offensive lineman out due to COVID. Well, maybe not the best. One of their best offensive linemen out, and Kevin Zeitler. There was another player out, wasn't there? Might have been Kaderl Hodge. So, like, wide receiver 4.
Tight end coach, offensive line coach.
Yeah, I think Zeitler and the coaches will be the big missing pieces for them in this game.
So again, because Stefanski, he also calls plays for the offense.
He does, but I've been saying it for a while. I don't trust the Steelers this year. Big Ben looks washed, like for 3 quarters at a time, and they'll turn on in the fourth, or vice versa, where he'll just be cooking for 3 quarters, and the fourth quarter he'll just fall apart and look like he's rolling balls to receivers. But I don't know. If he can put a whole game together, I think the Steelers should be able to put the Browns away easily. But this Browns team has been surprising people all year. You got a double-headed rushing attack with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And Baker's been playing, well, I was going to say mistake-free football, but that would be a lie.
Better football,
yes, than he has been. So I think the Browns have a chance, but I'm going to take the Steelers anyway.
Gotcha. All right. And the last game of the weekend of the super wild card weekend of the NFL football action, which this game could be probably the most physical game this week. Tennessee Titans versus the Baltimore Ravens, a rematch of last year's playoff. This time, I believe, is in Tennessee instead of Baltimore. So really, the Baltimore Ravens have the opportunity to do the same exact thing to the Titans that the Titans did to the Ravens last year. Come into their house, beat them up, especially with Titans having all the momentum. Derrick Henry rushing for 2K, which is just insane. 2K and 27 yards, like not just at the 2K, like a little bit over, you know. Amazing season. I think over 15 touchdowns. Just insane season for him. What do you think about this game, Jonathan?
Like you said, it should be a very physical matchup. Um, Derrick Henry. I mean, this is the time of year where he turns it on. And we saw what he did to the Ravens last year, where he turned Earl Thomas into his own lead blocker by stiff arming him.
Out of the league. Let's be
Well,
honest. Stiff
yeah,
armed him out of the league. That's how strong that stiff arm was.
yep. Stiff armed him into. No, I'm not going to go there.
I know what you were going to
But
say.
Lamar's been on a tear himself recently, and did finish with 1,000 yards rushing, 2,700 yards passing, 26 TDs to 9 interceptions. Um, and Hollywood Brown has been coming on recently. Uh, but I'm gonna roll with the Titans. I really think this one is like a true toss-up, though. I can see it going either way, but it's hard to root against King Henry this time of the year. Snow on the ground, cold in the air, and Derrick Henry coming at you. Just extremely hard to bring him down and defeat this team. So I'm going to go Titans.
Okay, cool. So that's all the NFL action we got, or at least for the playoff action. So also, you got the exciting, the playoffs, but then you got the other end of the spectrum. You got teams trying to start over and trying to figure out what went wrong. And so as of right now, we have 6 NFL coaching jobs open. As we've seen earlier this season, we have the Detroit Lions, the Atlanta Falcons, Houston Texans, the New York Jets, the Los Angeles Chargers, and
I think that was all 6.
I think I just did 5.
Lions, Texans, Chargers, Falcons, Jets, Jags.
Oh, Jaguars, yeah. So 6 teams available, and then 7 GM spots open as well, or 6. I think it's 6.
Carolina, Washington, Jacksonville, Denver, Detroit,
Houston,
Houston.
and that's it.
Did we say Washington already?
Yeah, you got 6, right?
Yeah, 6.
I think it's even 6. So some interesting jobs opening. Personally, to me, I think the top 2 jobs for GM and coaching spot for GM, I would say Jacksonville, just because for the pure fact of cap space, first overall pick, you get a lot to work with to really mold your team. And for coaching wise, I would say the Los Angeles Chargers, just because the sheer amount of talent that you have on that team. And I just think it's
Justin Herbert,
especially Justin. Like, I think it's like
rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year, Justin Herbert.
Facts, and it just to have and it's so important to have that quarterback already in place who's comfortable in the league. That's huge. I mean, Jacksonville could have that with Trevor Lawrence, but he hasn't played in the league yet. Justin Herbert has, so that's a slight advantage. What do you think about the top jobs available right now?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think the Jags are definitely the most desirable. You have the first overall pick. You have an extra pick from the Rams, I want to say. I think they still have another pick from the Jalen Ramsey trade. And then you have a ridiculous amount of cap space.
Yeah, they got the 21st pick right now. And
21st.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So you can get your quarterback of the future. You can take Trevor Lawrence. You could take Justin Fields. You could take Zach Wilson. You could take Trey Lance. Whoever your number one quarterback is, you get to pick him. You get to bring him in. And then at 21, you can go ahead and add an offensive weapon, a receiver if there's one there, an offensive lineman, a defensive weapon, a corner.
I mean, you can try to find someone else. I think. Okay, so let me flip the script on you. All right, between these other jobs, let's say between the Detroit Lions and the New York Jets, right? Which of these two teams would you say, if these are your only two options, which of these two teams are you more likely? Which one would you choose and why?
To coach?
Let's just say we're in XFL, we're your coach and GM. You get the Belichick deal, and you have to turn around both these franchises. Which of these two teams, between the Detroit Lions and the New York Jets, are you choosing?
The Jets.
Jets?
Jets have the number 2 pick. They have an extra first-round pick from the Jamal Adams trade. They also have lots of cap space. They also have Sam Darnold, who they could try to build around if they decide to forego a quarterback in the top 2 this year. They could trade back and still get a quarterback if that's what they wanted to do, or get an offensive lineman, another weapon for Sam Darnold. They have a lot of options. The Detroit Lions, basically their options are run it back with Stafford or hope for a quarterback at, I want to say, 8. Hope one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks falls to them. They don't really have much draft capital or cap space. They're a little bit hamstrung there, so I like the Jets because they have more flexibility and more ammunition.
I would choose if I were to choose Detroit, just to be counteractive with you. I think there's some talent there, but I think you definitely have to do a little bit of some a little explosion there. I think you have to let Matt Stafford go and let him, out of respect for Matt Stafford. I think that's the same thing with Atlanta. Like they got a lot of talent there too, but there's some people you got, out of respect for them, because I think it's going to take about 3 years to really build a consistent winner in Detroit. You let Matt Stafford go for a younger guy, possibly get a bridge guy, because I mean, 7 is a weird position.
A bridge water,
possibly Winston, Jameis, like a guy like that, Jacoby Brissett, a guy like that. You can have that year to really evaluate the talent that you have there, see if there was anything worth talent that Matt Patricia had in Detroit, and they kind of really start retooling. They got Jeff Okuda, Kenny Galladay, I think is a free agent this year. You got DeAndre Swifty. Young running back right there. You can build around.
Get Swifty.
Huh?
I was making a Rick and Morty reference.
Oh.
Get Swifty.
Yeah, I went over my head. I watched a little Rick and Morty, not enough to get references. But anywho, I think Detroit could be an interesting job. Atlanta's definitely going to be. I think Atlanta is probably the 3rd best job.
So I think Atlanta is closer to Detroit than the Jets is in terms of desirability.
Do you think Houston job is the least?
Coaching, no. GM, maybe. Because you do the one thing you have in Houston that you don't have in any of the other jobs is you have your franchise quarterback already in the building.
Truth. locked up for at least the next 4 years.
Yep. And with the Jags, you get to pick your franchise quarterback. The Jets, you could try to convince yourself that Sam Darnold is that franchise quarterback, but not a sure thing like the Texans have with Deshaun Watson. Led the league in passing yards, passing touchdowns, I want to say. Maybe not. No, not touchdowns.
He was close. He was like second. I think he was like second in like first or second in every major category for passing for quarterbacks. Let's see. Yeah, Deshaun Watson 4,800 passing yards. Let's see. He had 33 touchdowns. So he wasn't there for touchdowns. So he was seventh, tied for seventh with 33 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Led the league in passing yards, and I think he was top number 3 in completion percentage. So with 70.2%, only one of 3 quarterbacks to finish with 70% passer rating, completion percentage, and passer rating. He was number 2 behind Aaron Rodgers.
And all this after losing his number 1 weapon.
Yeah.
So he's a stud, and like I said, I think any coach would welcome the opportunity to coach him. But for a GM, their lack of picks and flexibility there is definitely a big negative. So if I was a coach and a GM, I would probably have the Texans lower than if I were just a coach.
I got you. So yeah, we'll be following more of that. We'll do some more like head coach GM type like question game type vibe of like just situational questions, just so we can because as we play franchise mode on Madden as well, maybe we'll do like a franchise with like the teams currently looking for a team. Like we'll do a random draw and we'll build that franchise. Maybe we'll do that. That should be fun. Yeah, so let's get into some NBA action now. And let's start off with a rookie alert. So some rookies who's been, playing pretty well this season. This young NBA season. Jonathan, who is your first rookie on alert? Putting the league on alert.
Well, this is a very pro LaMelo Ball podcast, but I'm going to take it from the top. I'm going to start with the first overall pick, Anthony Edwards, averaging 13.7 points per game, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. As a 19-year-old rookie, he's been very impressive the way he's able to shoot the ball and score the ball. And yeah, he's had some big games. Let's see. He actually hasn't really had any monster games, but he's been pretty steady. 15 points, 18 points, 15 points, 12 points, 17 points. And then last night he finally had a bad game. 5 points, 4 assists on 50% shooting. 1 of 3 from 3. So last night was his worst game, and it's because he only took 4 shots, which is by far the lowest he's taken. He shot 5 of 12 in his first game, 8 of 12 the second game, 6 for 21 the second game, 4 of 10, 7 of 16, and then 2 for 4 last night. Not great. in some of those games, but like I said, overall consistency is there. Um, and he's shown flashes with his athleticism and his shooting skills. Um, he's been pretty impressive, and I don't think they're regretting that pick one bit so far. I also don't think the Warriors are regretting taking James Wiseman one bit because he has also been very impressive.
He started off pretty hot. 2 games. First game 19-6. Second game 18-8. Averaging currently 11.6 rebounds. Pretty good production. Scoring more points than Kelly Oubre currently right now.
Yeah, Kelly Oubre stinks. But yeah, I think the biggest surprise with Wiseman is he's shooting 41.7% from three so far this year. He's only taken. Where did that go? One second. He's only taken like 12, but he's made about 5 of them. So pretty good range for a big man. More spacing. I would say the third splash bro, but there's been 2 third splash bros already. So the 5th splash bro, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they called Draymond third splash bro jokingly at one point, and then KD came and he was called the third splash bro because he actually could splash. Now we got James Wiseman, the 5th splash bro. But yeah, big guy. He can rebound. He can run the floor. His defense has been all right. Nothing. He's got 7 blocks in 7 games, so a block per game. Not ridiculous, but not bad. Just good. And combined with his scoring output so far, especially for somebody who didn't play college basketball last year, he's been very impressive. And then the 3rd overall pick has also been pretty impressive.
LaMelo.
Have you heard of him?
He's been balling.
Yes, he has.
I got the stats.
Let's hear him.
So he's averaging right now 11.6 points per game, 4.9 assists. So practically 12 and 5 right now. 35% from the 3-point range, 39 from the field goal range. We got to get that up a little bit. But he's had some pretty good games. Let me break it down. 1 second. So let's see. Right now, currently, he's already off to a better start in the month of January, averaging 13 points versus 10 points in December. Best game of the season was against Dallas, where he had 22, 8, and 5, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He does it pretty well on he rebounds the ball pretty well, but assists the ball and pass and facilitate is where he thrives. His scoring is like in waves, but he's averaging about 24 minutes a game right now. His minutes are increasing slowly but surely. But I think once he kind of starts getting like really serious minutes, I think you'll see his production continue to go up. I mean, for a kid who, he's been playing across the world. the last couple of years. He's been very impressive, especially the way he's been able to facilitate the basketball. I think this team just needs to find his identity. No doubt. Charlotte's not very good right now. I believe they're 2-5 on the season. But I mean, they got some promising pieces with Graham and Rozier. Rozier right now is leading the team in points with 21. So, but that soon could be LaMelo. He's been a very steady producer as he gets comfortable with the NBA game.
Correct. We love LaMelo. Yeah, Gordon Hayward's actually been playing pretty well for them as well. And he needs to because he's getting paid more than pretty much the rest of the Hornets who we just mentioned are combined. But so far this season, got to give it to him. He's playing well. He's living up to that contract as well as he can be expected. But yeah, we need to see more LaMelo. He's only averaging 24 minutes per game. So, I mean, his per 48 numbers are 23 points per game, 9 assists per game, and I think 9 rebounds per game. So basically a 23-point triple-double for his per 48. Not bad. Especially as a rookie, but he's not just a rookie. He is a baller. So we're expecting this and more from him to come.
Exactly. Ballers in the family. Speaking of ballers, let's go to our ballers so far in this early on NBA season. We'll go one for one here. Jonathan, you want to start it off with who's your first baller? Who's been balling out? A player that you really like that's been balling out so far this season.
Both of my guys are really under the radar guys for casual fans. Diehard fans might not be too surprised about these. But for my first guy, I want to give a happy 22nd birthday shout out to Colin Sexton of the Cleveland Cavaliers, averaging 25.7, 3 assists and 2 rebounds per game. Like I said, he just turned 22, so he was doing that as a 21-year-old. As he continues to grow, I would imagine those rebound and assist numbers go up, and he's already averaging almost 26 points per game in year 3. The sky's the limit for this kid. And, yeah, he's just balling out right now. Almost 26 points per game, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, playing with not the most talented roster, but I believe the Cavs are sitting at 5-2 right now. So he's got them, let's see, Cleveland. They're 4-3, in the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference right now, and he is the biggest reason why. He's just been going off for them night in, night out, basically. Yeah, that's it for my first one. My second one, I'll get to him too. But I went 2 more under the radar guys. CJ went for 2 bigger names, but that's what we're here for. We're here to give props to everybody, regardless of your popularity and status. If you ball, you ball, and we're going to congratulate you for it.
Yeah. And the first person I have to give props to, I don't think it should come as a surprise, but a lot of people did question and have a lot of doubt of how he would look in his return back to the NBA. And you might be thinking the person named John, but I'm not talking about no Johns. I'm going to Brooklyn, and I'm talking about Kevin Durant, formerly of OKC, formerly of Golden State, and also from the DMV. Kevin Durant averaging right now 28.7 rebounds, 4.8 assists. He's been putting on a clinic. Um, he's looking really healthy, and he's continuing to keep getting better as the season go on. Right now, he is under COVID protocols due to close contact. Um, but I mean, the way he's been cooking, the way Kyrie's been playing, they've been playing really well together. That team is looking pretty good so far. They got a lot of stuff to work out. I think Dinwiddie got hurt for them recently, which is a big blow. But they're continuing to figure things out. But Kevin Durant looks good, and especially a lot of NBA players, or really anybody who suffer a torn Achilles. I mean, you don't see that same explosion. You don't see the same person. It takes someone really a long time to really trust their legs, to trust themselves again. And he's looking like he has trust in himself, and I mean, scoring 28 a game. So I mean, he's still that the slim sniper. What does he call it? The Slim Reaper.
Slim. He actually doesn't like that nickname. He prefers the Servant.
Oh, okay. Either way, he's cash money.
Easy money sniper.
There you go. So who's your second offering, Jonathan, that you got?
My second guy. I'm gonna stick to New York, but I'm gonna go over to the Knicks. And my second, yes, the New York Knickerbockers. My second baller is Julius Randle, averaging 22, 11, and 7 as a power forward. Almost a triple-double. He's 3 assists away from a triple-double on average, which as a forward, even a point forward, that's pretty ridiculous, combined with 22 points and 11 rebounds a game. He's just balling out. He has the Knicks in the 5th seed right now, behind only the 76ers, the Orlando Magic, the Indiana Pacers, sorry. Indianapolis Pacers. It's late. I'm tired. I warned you that in the beginning of this. And the Boston Celtics. But yeah, Knicks are surprising some teams this year. Obi Toppin had a couple big games earlier in the year, especially the first opening night, I want to say. Or their opener, at least. Kevin Knox is another young guy they have who had a big game or two in the first 2 games. But Julius Randle's a good, steady presence there. 22.1 points, 11.4 rebounds, 7.4 assists per game. And he's been fairly consistent. 29 points, 28 points, 16 points, a low of 12 points, and then back to 28 points. And then rebounds 14, 12, 10, 11, 17. Assists 7, 11, 5, 8, 9. So he's just been putting the stats lines together night in, night out with consistency, which is what you want to see for a team like the Knicks, who haven't really done much of anything recently. They keep holding out hopes that they're going to be able to land a big-time free agent. And that is not materialized. But the good news is Julius Randle is outperforming some bigger name free agents they could have missed out on this offseason.
Very true. A talk that we had a little bit earlier on was the trade. The trade between Luka Doncic and Trae Young. And both players are just phenomenal. But Trae Young is the player that I want to spotlight who's been really just out playing insane basketball right now. Um, that team and the team is playing pretty good as well. Right now they're 4-3, second behind the Orlando Magic in the Southeast standings right now. But just to throw some numbers out there for you, Trae Young is averaging 28.6, 4.1, and 9 assists per game. Um, Insane numbers. I mean, we knew that he was, everyone keeps comparing him to Steph Curry, the way he can put up points in numbers and, droves. They have a good team. They got a young team. I didn't realize they had Clint Capella, who's averaging 12 rebounds right now.
Mm-hmm. They got him
Also,
late last year.
It's a good pickup. Him and then John Collins, who's been playing really well for them, averaging 17 and 7 for them. Someone that I haven't seen, I don't know if he still plays for them. Oh, here's Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish 10 and 4. So, decent. Not what you want from your first round pick, but Kevin Herter has been playing pretty well too.
Big hurt.
They got a lot of young guys. I mean, they got a lot of team. They got depth. They did get Bogdanovich. Also, they have Rajon Rondo, Gallinari. So, I mean, they got a team that could possibly make a run if they start gelling and Trae Young continues to elevate his game. Like I said before, I don't think anyone really lost in this trade. I mean, of course, Luka Doncic has been playing out of his mind, but Trae Young has also been very good for the Atlanta Hawks as well. It's almost a pick your poison. I mean, yes, Luka has been a triple-double machine, but I think both players are going to be – I mean, both players are great right now, but both players are definitely going to be great for their teams in years to come. So that's the last person I want to say who's been ballers. And for the final segment of the show, let's take out the trash, shall we?
Let's do it.
And well, I know who your offering is. Why don't you go ahead and give us your offering for the trash run this week?
All right, let me go ahead and look up his stats before I do this, so I'm not just throwing him away for no reason. First, I'm going to give you the team, and I'll let the viewers see if they can guess it. The team is the Golden State Warriors. And yes, you are correct. It is Kelly Oubre Jr. He's averaging 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist per game. But his 3-point shooting has been atrocious. I'm talking, this dude is... Where did it go? All right. He had a good game tonight, actually. 4 of 6 from 3. He had 18 points. But including this game tonight, where he was 4 of 6, for the season, he is now up to 6 of 36 from 3. Or less than 17%. That's after shooting 66.7% tonight. Dude stinks. He needs to not shoot threes anymore. Give him to James Wiseman. As we've said, he can splash a few threes himself. Or this guy named Steph Curry. Seems to be a decent shooter for the Warriors. Maybe they should let him shoot the threes. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts. But Kelly Oubre stinks and he needs to be thrown in the trash, please.
Your wish is my command.
Thank you, sir. Get out of here, Kelly. You stink.
So my trash run for this week It may come as a surprise. Not really such a surprise, but if we were talking about this maybe a few weeks ago, you'd be like, "Oh, what?" I'm going with Tua Tagovailoa going into the trash. Had an opportunity to get his team to the playoffs and just didn't show up. Didn't play well. He didn't play well enough to where now you have questions going into the offseason. The worst game in any season as a professional athlete to play bad in is the last game because it's the last thing that we remember you from. So if you were great the last game that you played, then we're going to have great thoughts about you. But if you had a trash game, we are only going to have trash thoughts about you, especially now with Miami Dolphins being in the position at number 3 in the NFL draft. If they don't believe in you as the quarterback, you could be replaced just as the chosen one did a few years ago. And you can't have that kind of performance. I believe in Tua. I think Tua can still be good. Maybe it was just he needs to get better. And hopefully he does. Hopefully they stick with him and let him keep developing and he could do something special, get some more weapons around him. But for this week that he did getting milly-whopped against the Buffalo Bills, my friend, and I'm sorry I had to do this, but you are going into the trash. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
My friend, that is the end of the show. How did you feel the show went, Jonathan?
I felt it went pretty well. I'm pretty sleepy, though, so hopefully I'll have more energy on Thursday when we come back for our postseason episode, kicking off the postseason.
Hate to pile on the postseason. We have some pile-on picks for the playoffs. We'll have our pick for the national championship game, as well as more NBA action and whatever else is going on in the world. Are you excited for the postseason?
Not really. Of course, it's the postseason. Who doesn't like the postseason?
Playoffs? Playoffs?
Playoffs? Playoffs?
That's what we're talking about. And we will be full postseason mode Thursday. So come back and check us out on that episode. The beginning of the postseason, a lot of awesome stuff. We went through the preseason. We were in season, and now it's time for the postseason. We are going to be on our A games. Rookie year is over. We're not rookies anymore. We're here, and we're here to compete. But we'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a good night.
Enjoy your night. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.